Let's talk about the Fool card in tarot, which is the first card in tarot, but its number is 0. It signifies the circle of life, and usually when this card comes out, what it's trying to tell you is you need to jump. So अगर कोई आपको कुछ भी बोल रहा है, कोई भी एडवाइस दे रहा है कि आपको ये करना चाहिए, आपको वो करना चाहिए, आपको ये करना चाहिए, आपको वो करना चाहिए, आपको उसमें से कुछ नहीं सुनना है. आपको वो करना है विच योर हार्ट कॉल्स आउट, जो आपका दिल बोले, जो आपका इंट्यूशन बोले, टू बी मोर प्रिसाइज. पीपल विल कीप टॉकिंग. लोग बोलते रहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना, लोग बोलते रहेंगे. आपको वही करना है, आपको आपका बैगेज सारा पीछे छोड़ देना है. बिकॉज उस कार्ड में भी अगर आप देखेंगे, दैट पर्सन इज़ ओनली कैरिंग अ वेरी small bag. It's like a potli, it's not even that big, and you have to leave everything behind. You have to leave your definition of things behind, your old perception about things behind. You have to leave everything that you know and how you knew it, if that makes sense. सब पीछे छोड़ के आपको यूनिवर्स पे ट्रस्ट करना है. गॉड, सोर्स, यूनिवर्स, वट एवर यू बिलीव इन, आपको उस पर ट्रस्ट करके you have to jump. The Fool is about that. Jumping, knowing that you will be held by the universe, you will be taken care of by the universe, and if you're feeling the inclination to go towards something, 10 people are saying no, but somewhere deep down in your gut, you know that no, I need to go through with this. You go through with it. That's the Fool for you. Let's talk about the Magician today. It is the second card in tarot technically, but the number is 1 on it because we talked about the Fool in the last video. The Fool is 0, circle of life. The Magician is 1. First of all, that is all about new beginnings. Or Magician is, if you say it in Hindi, then Jadugar. And if you see that card, in tarot, what you'll notice is the Magician has everything. The Magician has the physical resources, material resources, emotional resources, and what am I missing? Mental resources, SWOTs. It has everything. So when this card shows up, आपके पास आपको जो अचीव करना है उसके लिए सब कुछ है. Emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, every single thing. You don't need to look for anything outside of you. You have the power to make what you are thinking and dreaming about a reality. As above, so below. Because Magician के कार्ड में अगर आप देखेंगे, so the person has one hand in the air and one pointing downwards. You have the power of all the realms to make what you want happen. So when this card shows up, you need to stop doubting, stop giving into your human physical fears, and combine everything that you know. सारी आपकी विजडम कंबाइन करो. फिजिकल, मटीरियल, स्पिरिचुअल, कंबाइन ऑल योर रिसोर्सेज दैट यू नो ऑफ एंड जस्ट गो फॉर इट. ओके, दैट्स द मैजिशियन फॉर यू. जादूगर. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द हाई प्रीस्टेस टुडे. The divine feminine within. Your intuition, your inner knowing, the voice, the feeling that just comes from within you every time you're trying to make a decision. काफ़ी बार दुनिया के chaos में, वर्ल्ड की सारी भागा दौड़ी में, we forget कि what is supposed to actually guide you. That is the divine feminine within. We have both the energies within us, masculine and feminine, and High Priestess represents the feminine within because it is about your knowing, your intuition. It's like, okay, I'll give a very random example. Let's say you want to make a decision about, do I want to have vanilla ice cream or strawberry ice cream, and immediately you say strawberry. That was your intuition. I know this is a very basic example, but when you start applying this in your everyday life, using that click of that answer, it will come from your gut and your intuition. What it tells you, that wisdom and that information will make you feel calm and composed and very grounded and very very sure that this is what I want. It's almost like that ice cream example, that you are sure, but at the same time you're like, yes, I want strawberry. Very certain, very firm. So when this card shows up, what it's telling you is that slow down, give yourself time to listen to your intuition, learn a little bit about shadow work so that you heal layers of you which have, जो दुनिया के chaos में आप अपनी आवाज़ सुन नहीं पा रहे हो. That's where shadow work comes in, कि you have this rigid definition of things because of your conditioning, and shadow work is a lot about unlearning things that have been imposed on you. When that work begins, धीरे 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 your intuition will feel more stronger, you will hear it more clearly, you'll listen to it, and you'll actually use it more strongly, and it will help you in making decisions, not just the small decisions but also the big ones, only because you will rest in knowing that I am sure and content, this is what needs to be done. So that's the high priestess for you. Let's talk about the empress today. Mother Earth, Gaia, the entire nature, Prakriti. That's how I see the empress every single time it shows up. And when this card shows up for you, what you need to understand is that you need to be grounded in your reality. You need to be grounded in your mindset about achieving a significant level of abundance that you have imagined for yourself. It also signifies being so rich in your values, in your principles, in your duty towards the universe, towards Mother Earth, towards yourself, the vessel that you have been blessed with, that you've been born with, being more nurturing, being more kind towards this vessel and the Mother Earth. यूजुअली व्हेन दिस कार्ड शोज अप, तभी आपको अपने आप के तरफ बहुत सारा प्यार दिखाने की ज़रूरत है. You need to show a lot of love to yourself, and it is just such a beautiful card. When it shows up, it is also asking you to invite a certain sense of calm within you. It also signifies fertility, but what I also feel it when this card shows up is that you can create the reality that you want, because you are in the frequency that is so in alignment with the creation, if that makes sense. Your creative ideas are important, they are flowing, and you need to listen to that creative side of you. That's the empress for you. Let's talk about the emperor today. Authority, discipline, structure, stability. Somebody that is very much grounded, very level-headed, very decisive, has seen a very good amount of life and has so much experience, but also somebody who has a certain level of ego. So when this card shows up, definitely आपको गाइड किया जा रहा है कि आप किसी विजडमस इंसान से बात करें, विजडमस ह्यूमन बीइंग से कुछ गेन करें, उनके एक्सपीरियंसेस सुनकर कुछ सीखने की कोशिश करें. बट उसका दूसरा साइड ये भी है कि यू हैव द विजडम विद इन यू, बट आपका ईगो टेक ओवर कर रहा है. सो आपको ग्राउंड होने की ज़रूरत है, लाइफ में डिसिप्लिन, स्ट्रक्चर लाने की ज़रूरत है, so that you don't function from your ego, but you function from a space of wisdom and level-headedness. The emperor shows up usually when either you are functioning too much from your ego and you need to tone it down and use your wisdom, not just go around and dominate people. No, that is wrong. So when this card shows up, you're being asked to be a little bit more humble. In another scenario this card would usually show up is when you are letting people walk all over you. Then you will see this card and you are being asked to stand up for yourself, to speak up, to not let people dominate you, to actually stand up for your rights and establish. Another reason this shows up is so that you establish a structure, discipline, routine in your life. Tap into the divine masculine within and embrace that side of you. That's the emperor for you. Alright, let's talk about the Hierophant. A very beautiful card where a person is sitting on the chair, but there are two people like sitting in front, facing towards that person. This is to me about you facing the duality that you carry within you, that is masculine and feminine. We have both the energies within us. So Hierophant calls you to sit with yourself and look at both the polarities that exist within you and analyze that are those polarities, masculine and feminine, functioning in harmony in a balanced way, or is one polarity's influence, or has one polarity's influence been more dominating than the others? Sometimes we can function from an overly masculine perspective for a good while and neglect the feminine within, and vice versa. So, when this card shows up, you are being called to approach yourself with not just the knowledge, but actually the wisdom that you have converted that knowledge into, and have a sit down with yourself about the ways in which you have been neglecting either polarity. Other way that I look at this card is of course the general meanings as well, that it tells you to pursue higher learning, going overseas sometimes, sitting down with someone wise and asking for advice and actually listening to it, having a conversation with somebody who has more experience with the kinds of things that you're dealing with right now. But the biggest one would be you choosing to activate and anchor the wisdom that already exists in your soul, in your this physical body that you have been born in, and really just have a talk like you would have a conversation with probably another human being, but making that conversation more like a back and forth with yourself instead of another person. If you struggle with that, then definitely having a conversation with someone who has experience with, like I said, the things you've been dealing with. That's the Hierophant for you, in my opinion. Let's talk about the lovers today. दो polarities जो आपके अंदर ही exist करती हैं, divine masculine and divine feminine, and that is connected to one consciousness. The lovers को usually लोग readings में सिर्फ प्यार की तरह देखते हैं, या कि लवर्स आया तो चलो you will get love in your life and you will meet somebody and all that. It's not wrong, but when I look at it, I feel it is more about balancing the divine masculine and feminine within. We have both the energies within us, and when this card shows up, it is so much more about being soul naked, not just with another human being, but more so with yourself, being so honest and so vulnerable with yourself about your strengths, about your weaknesses, about the things you need to work on, about the emotions that you need to work with, about the shadow work that is required to be done. This is also about not escaping the version of you that you have buried within the conditioning that you've grown up with. So emphasis on the soul naked part about yourself, with yourself, towards yourself. This card is it's just so beautiful because it shows that even though we have both polarities within us, how we exist in harmony with both the polarities and connect with the one consciousness, if that makes sense. Everyone tells you about the generic meanings, so I thought I decided to give a slightly different spin to it and give you a different perspective on the lovers. So yeah, that's the lovers card for you. Alright, let's talk about the Chariot today. In this card, when this card usually shows up, you are being advised and guided that move forward and keep going regardless of the amount of obstacles that you have faced or are facing or eventually might face in the journey ahead. Also, this card is very much showing the two polarities again, the yin and yang, because when you see at the bottom there are two figures, that one is black and one is white, and the person who is riding the chariot is just moving forward. So you don't want anything in your life to stop you from moving forward. You will see two facets of everything. You will be encountering multiple perspectives. You will be drawn towards listening to multiple people for guidance or multiple resources. You can do that, but when this card shows up, what you're usually being guided to do is just keep going. Close your eyes and keep going. Don't wait for anyone. Don't wait to listen to anybody. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you what to do. Because this card is precisely here to tell you that don't. Just go for it. Just keep going and don't stop. Because you will know when to stop when you reach wherever you're supposed to reach. So for me, when this card shows up, I usually feel like it is also a slight click at the yin yang portion. So maybe you want to look up yin yang and read up on it. And sometimes, of course, when you are doing a reading, a bunch of cards showed up together and create a picture. So in a lot of people's cases, this definitely shows up for them when they need to actually slow down, because they have been running for far too long and they have been rushing for far too long. But if you have just asked a single question and this card shows up as a standalone card, then it is definitely about you just charging ahead and not stopping for anybody. Alright, that's the chariot for you. Let's talk about the strength card. In this card, you can see the figure is feeding their own hand to the lion, and the symbol and the number is 8, which is like the symbol of infinity. So this card is actually just about you taming the beast within, which is you want to channel your feminine energy and tame yourself by using the feminine within. This is a war between intuition and ego. And usually when this card shows up, you have been functioning from your ego a little too much, and you need to use your intuition more. When this card shows up, harmony can be achieved on all levels. That is why this card has shown up, because you are your own savior. You are the one who can save yourself. You are the one who can tame yourself. So you have it within you to discipline yourself, to use your wisdom, use your intuition, and set an example by practicing what you preach. Because this card is such a beautiful example of letting you know that you have the power within you to make the changes that are necessary and to get control of everything from within, nothing outside of you, from within. Using the feminine within to tame the over masculine energy and center yourself. Alright, so that's the strength for you. Let's talk about the Hermit, one of my favorite cards. But this card is what I like to call it the time away card. Like, you need to tell people to just leave you alone. Because this card shows up when it's time for you to go within. It's time for you to just be by yourself. It's time for you to meditate. It's time for you to do some soul searching. It's time for you to finally awaken spiritually in ways that not everyone can tell you how it should be done, because that's what spirituality is. It's subjective. It is something you wake up to yourself. The journey you choose it yourself. You pick what you believe in, you pick your faith, you discover your faith, and that can only happen when you choose to go into hermit mode. So when this card shows up, it is usually asking you to focus on, if you haven't already, then discovering your faith, or if you already have discovered your faith, then this card has shown up so that you can shut down the noise and recenter and go back to what you had discovered your faith is and listen to that part of you, if that makes sense. So this card is all about your private time, which no one needs to fill it up with their definition of things. And this involves social media, because a lot of us these days, we don't go to people for guidance as much. We go to social media for guidance, be it online sources or watching videos. But this card is all about, when it shows up for you, it's asking you to take a break and step away from all sources of wisdom and choose to focus on the wisdom that is coming from within. Alright, that's the Hermit for you. Let's talk about the Wheel of Fortune. This card is such a beautiful card when it shows up, because it shows you the nature of existence, that it's like a circle, like a wheel, where if you are high, you'll come low, but if you're low, then you'll go high too. It's the card of change, that change is about to happen, and you will experience positive shifts in your life when this card shows up. It's about completion of a cycle, but at the same time recognizing that life is all about going with the flow, going with the current of life, expecting transformation, expecting spiritual awakening, opportunities to spiritually awaken. And when this card shows up, you are also being advised to focus on your dreams, focus on the higher power that you believe in, that there is that one magical power that is outside of human comprehension. When this card shows up, I usually like to tell people that you are safe and divinely protected, because this card focuses so much on the destiny part of it all, that regardless of what will happen, you will reach where you're meant to reach, you will meet the people that you're meant to meet, and you will learn a lot along the way, and those lessons will stay with you. So when you see this card, the one small takeaway, though, like an instinctual takeaway that I'd like for you to take is go with the flow and surrender to what you believe in. God, source, universe, whatever it is. That's the Wheel of Fortune. Let's talk about Justice. The card where a figure is sitting between two pillars has tarazu को English में क्या बोलते हैं? I forgot. But has a sword and has the scales which represent balance, fairness, justice. Also, sword is about, in this card, it's all about cutting through the illusions, seeing things very clearly, and knowing the difference between right or wrong. When this card shows up for you, it's asking you to go deeper within and cut out all the emotional mess, cut out everything that is clouding your judgment, and focus on making a logical decision, a balanced decision, a decision that is free of illusions, free of bias, free of your preconceived definition of things. That is the Justice for you. Let's talk about the Hanged Man, one of my favorite cards in the Major Arcana. In this figure, a man is suspended upside down, and the first thing that comes to mind when you see this card is look at things from a different perspective. That's the biggest emphasis when it comes to this card. Look at things from a different perspective. Another thing that comes to mind is you need to surrender to the universe, because when you look at this figure on the card, the figure is really happy despite of being suspended upside down. That represents ultimate surrender, ultimate faith in the universe, because this individual believes that everything is happening for a reason, and what's meant for you will never pass you by. All you need to do is believe. you pick your faith, you stick with it, you believe in that one power, universe, source, God, whatever it is. You surrender, you let them take the wheel, God, source, universe, and you just watch it unfold. This card is what I sometimes like to call is the ultimate surrender card. That's the Hanged Man for you. Let's talk about the Death card in tarot. This card comes after the Hanged Man when you see all the major arcana. And what this card tries to tell you is that first comes the ultimate surrender, believing in the universe, which is the Hanged Man. Then comes the death. Then comes death, which is death of your illusions, death of your preconceived notion, death of your definition of things, death of everything that you have known. Complete destruction, complete, how do I put it? Transformation. Yeah. Complete transformation of every person, every individual, or every aspect of your life. Death is putting an end to what no longer serves you, but also an end to not waking up, an end to staying asleep to the reality of things, to reality of people, places, and situations, and death of not knowing your own potential. When this card shows up, I would always recommend you sitting down, going within, and recognizing that what things need to end and you haven't been letting them end, if that makes sense. Another thing is when this card shows up, for some people it is about you are right in the middle of a lot of endings. So what this card is telling you is that endings also mean that there is room, there is so much room for new to be birthed. Because the next card that comes after this is Temperance, which is the universe asking you for patience. So when death shows up, you're being guided that if you have chosen, because the Hanged Man is before this, if you have chosen to surrender and believe in the universe, then trust that these endings will require you to be patient, but they are leading you towards the biggest transformation of your soul's journey. That's the Death card for you. Let's talk about Temperance. This card comes right after the Death card, which kind of makes it a little more important, because Temperance, as it's coming after the Death card, which means you have gone through destruction, you have gone through a very big transformation in your life, and this card is telling you to be patient, because I know when things end, while we are in the middle of it or while we are just coming out of it, we run very low on patience. This card shows up just to remind you exactly that if you trusted the universe to reach to a stage where you conveyed to the universe that you are ready for death, you are ready for transformation. In this context, the Death card is transformation. If you trusted the universe to that level, that you need to trust the universe even more and be patient, that the flow of your life, the journey of your life is going somewhere so beautiful, because death and Temperance, these things show up, these cards show up when you have achieved a certain level of surrender and trust in the universe. So when you see Temperance, I need you to also remember that you need to become like water, flow with complete trust and surrender. That's the biggest takeaway. That's the Temperance for you. Let's talk about the Devil. So this card shows up right after Temperance, and so we've got Death, Temperance. There's a bunch of cards, but then we've got Death, Temperance, and the Devil. This is the stage when this card shows up. It's very crucial because you have just survived a very big transformation, the Death card. Then you are in this phase of Temperance where you are trusting the universe, you're being patient. Then comes the Devil. You will be tempted. You will be taken back to opportunities or scenarios or situations that were a lot like your old self, were a lot like your past self, where you will be tempted to go back to your old ways, to go back to your reactions, or past behaviors, or you will be tested, is the right word. Yeah, you will be put through a series of tests from the universe, a series of temptations, to see that the transformation, the surrender, and everything that you just went through, being the death card, the temperance card, and all that, are you ready to stick with it? Are you ready to actually transform and become the version of yourself that you went through all this transformation for? This period is very difficult because if you have not mastered connecting with your intuition, you will give into your temptations. So, when this card shows up for you, you need to apply this rule of either choosing to, in scenarios when you have to make a decision, you need to choose to like sleep over it or take your time. And if you have reached this stage, you would have mastered your intuition pretty well. So you need to double down on that no, this is what I felt intuitively and this is what I'm doing, and differentiate between desire and something that is great for your soul's growth. I couldn't find the word, so I yeah. But also, when this card shows up for you, I like to see it from this perspective also, that you have it, you have the power within you to free yourself from the conditioning, from your detrimental habits, and you have the power right here, right here, right here in your soul to come out of whatever that tries to tempt you or whatever that tries to take you back to your old ways. And this card will show up when you will be doubting yourself a lot. That's why it is very important to develop a connection with the universe and your intuition, or just develop that one faith that you can stick to when times like testing times show up. So, yeah, that's the devil for you. Let's talk about the Tower. This card is सब कुछ बिखर गया is the right way to put it. This is, in this card you can see lightning strikes and the building is right at the building, and everything is falling apart. Everything is falling apart. Everyone is falling down. People were just enjoying, and suddenly a shock came. It's like you're sitting peacefully and you just felt an earthquake. This card usually shows up when you have been blinded by illusions, blinded by conditioning, blinded by how you want things to look like, how you want people to look like, the image, the facade that you have created of something or someone. And this card shows up when that entire reality comes crashing down. That's Tower. It is unexpected, it is sudden, it is full of Mars energy. So, whatever happens, it shakes you in a way where the adrenaline is pumping, and not in a good way. Your entire reality is shaken, and you have no idea how to move forward. The Tower happens, but after that comes the Star card, which is a lot more about awakening and choosing a direction that is much more soul naked and not blinded by any kind of illusion or definition, because you were just stripped of that by the Tower. So, yeah, that's the Tower for you. Let's talk about the Star card in tarot. It comes right after the Tower card. You might want to listen to the description of that, and it's on my page. But yeah, the Star card is about everything that comes right after the Tower, which is your entire reality has been destroyed. Your illusions, your definition, your conditioning of things, your image of people, your perception of how you saw somebody, how you expected them to be, or how you thought they were, all of that has changed with the Tower. With the Star comes in fresh new insight, because with the Star card you can see the figure is naked, which signifies that you are at a stage where you are completely soul naked, and you have to go through your emotions, you have to go through your channel of things, channel of realizations, and face everything that has just been revealed to you in a very grand manner. And the star card is that stage in between, also, I feel sometimes, because it comes right after the tower, but also after the star, we have the moon. So the star is you, first of all, just looking at everything that this has just happened. This is what I have been awakened to. This is what my eyes have been opened to. And this is the processing stage where everything has happened and you're just putting it together and making sense of it. That's the star, because after the star comes the moon, which is the actual dealing with it, and whether you choose to embrace it or suppress it. That's where the moon card comes in, because you will be forced to deal with things. So are you going to like suppress it or deal with it? But yeah, the star is that processing phase, what I like to call, where the tower revealed things to you, and the star is just you awakening, accepting, and seeing things finally for what they are, seeing people for what they are. So, yeah, that's the star. Let's talk about the moon card. It comes right after the star card, but the order is a bunch of cards, but then we've got the tower, the star, and the moon. The moon card is you have had the destructive moment, you've had the awakening moment, you've had a chance to process things, that is tower and the star, and the moon comes in, and it is literally the moon. It is about getting to a phase which is after the process. Are you going to react to this? Are you going to choose to respond to this? Are you going to choose to emotionally process this in a healthy way or in a detrimental way? The moon card is also you. Are you going to listen to people and choose to function from their idea of things, or are you going to come to your own conclusion about what has just happened and move accordingly? When the moon card shows up, you need to tread very carefully, because you will be bombarded with so much outside emotions, so much outside information, so much of noise, that you just want to go into your shell and be like, you know what, fine, let's do this, fine, let's do that, like listening somebody's opinion and just going with it. But at this stage, it is imperative that you choose first to respond to the situation that has happened with you, and second, you take your time to come to a decision. You take your time to come to a decision from an intuitive space, from your soul's space, and not listen to the noise, not listen to what everyone else's definition of things is, because that will only lead to you going right back to the devil stage in tarot. So the moon card is so much more about drowning the noise of what everyone else is saying and just focusing on what you feel, how you want to respond to it, how you want to go ahead with whatever is happening, and connecting with your intuition at this stage is extremely paramount. So if it requires for you to go in isolation to just listen to your soul, then that needs to also be done. So yeah, that's the moon for you. Let's talk about the sun card. It is the most positive card in the tarot deck, as people like to call it. When this card shows up, you have gone through a lot, because before this a bunch of cards are there, which is death, temperance, devil, tower, the star, the moon, and then the sun shows up, which is you have gone through a massive transformation, massive revelation, massive breaking down of illusions and conditioning. And the sun shows up when you have survived the temptation, survived the revelation of things, and have made a choice which is a lot to do with choosing yourself and choosing the truth instead of what everyone else has been trying to feed you. The sun is the stage where you are wide open, your inner child has shown up, your awakening has reached a certain stage where you are saying no to people, you are standing up for yourself, you are sticking to your boundaries, you are listening to your intuition, and the sun shows up to finally get you to a stage where you focus on your inner child. You focus on things that bring you joy because you have been going through so much, so many stages of awakening, so much of adulting, that the Sun card is that breather, is that reminder that the part of spiritual journey is also about enjoying things. It's also about letting your inner child come out to play. It is also about doing things that comfort your inner child. So that's why when this card shows up, you are being asked to go within and do something that makes your inner child happy, that makes you smile, that's like that comfort food feeling where you feel held, you feel comforted, and you enjoy the process of your spiritual journey and not just constantly fight battles and have go through the spiritual warfare, but also savor everything that you've been through, everything that you've come out of, and just absorb that I've come so far in this journey. That's the Sun card for you. Let's talk about Judgment. It's the last second card in the major arcana. When this card shows up, you've reached to this stage of ultimate devotion, because in the card you can see that there's an angel blessing people and people are just standing there in complete devotion and surrender and committing to trusting the divine will, trusting the universe, God, source, whatever you believe in. And when this card shows up, you have dealt with so many things, you made so many decisions, you have chosen the path of spirituality for sure. And if this card shows up standalone, then yes, you are being asked to surrender to divine will, because you're not doing that, you're trying to control too many things. But if you have been on your spiritual journey long enough, this card is just that click of a reminder that open your arms and just let God, source, universe take the wheel, because you've been trying to control things for far too long. And the Judgment is about leaving judgment to the divine will, leaving decisions also to the divine will. It's almost a card which also, to me, it comes across as in your every decision you invite God, that I'm not making this decision, God is making this decision. I'm not taking this step, God is taking that step. So, and that comes from a place of devotion and surrender, not from ego. Okay, so don't make a bad decision, go ahead and then you go ahead and tell everyone, no, I didn't make this decision, God made this decision. No, not like that. But yeah, the shortest way I can say this is Judgment is all about surrendering with devotion, with complete devotion to that one power that you believe in, God, source, universe, and letting that power take over your life and continue living it even in difficult times or good times. So even if good is happening, God made that happen, something like that. So yeah, I like to leave it at the ultimate devotion card, and yeah, that's the Judgment for you. Let's talk about the World card, the last card in the major arcana. And when this card shows up, it is all about you looking at your past and looking at how far you've come, because this card is all about completion of a journey. You have reached the end. You have finally survived multiple stages of awakening, multiple stages of trusting the universe, surrendering to the universe, and basically all the things that were meant to break you, they did not. They only made you stronger because you took the lesson that you were meant to take from those things. The World card is also hints towards the discipline it required you to reach this stage, because usually when we reach to an end of something, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of perseverance. So I feel like this card comes up with a lot of Saturn energy as well, because you have survived the multiple tests that the universe threw at you. The World shows up when in two cases. One, as in what we just talked about, that you have come a long way and you have survived a lot of things. Another being that you are not ending something, you are not letting go of something that needs to be let go of. So when this card shows up, you need to keep in mind what your situation is. But definitely, to me, this card is all about recognizing your achievements, recognizing everything that you have been through, and recognizing the things that you've put an end to and the things that you need to put an end to if you haven't already. So yeah, that's the world for you.